What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest episode review of Dr. Stone. Now, this episode, I gotta admit to you, yes, I've been drinking, but I'm always drinking. Point of fact. But, no, I really want to admit this to you guys. This started to get me a little teary-eyed. I was a little misty-eyed at this episode. It was for the entirety of the later half of the episode. The first half, right? This episode was wonderful. I won't say it's the best episode we've had, but it's definitely got to be in the top 3. It is so damn good. We get the aspects of everything. We get the culmination of an entire venture in creating the sulfur cure-all drug. Then we get the science aspect of that, but we also get the completionist feeling of that. We also get character progression, story arcs, beautiful soundtrack and animation. It is just, you know what? After coming off of the episode 3 abysmalness, that was Seven Deadly Sins season 3, watching a good anime episode that I've never seen before has been... I think that's part of it. I honestly do, because this episode, right off the bat, we're at the tail end of the last episode, right? And we know that they've won. They've already won. It's just who's going to end up being the village chief. It doesn't really matter. You got Ginro and Senku showing up in the next match, and then you got Chrome who beat Magma. So, and Ginro basically looks at Ruri and says, listen, we all know you want it to be Chrome sort of idea, and... don't worry about it. We're all going to purposely lose so that Chrome wins in the final match, and then you'll get to be with who you want. And Ruri, being so happy about this, but being level-headed, is all like, no, I am a priestess, and I will marry whoever. There's no desires or wants like that and stuff. And Jasper's sitting there like, Ginro, would you read through the lines, what she's saying? God damn it, boy. And Ginro does not understand. And he proceeds to go... Wait a minute. Hold that telephone, right? Hold that dial dick ahead, and all that stuff, right? He decides, I'm going to be village chief. And proceeds to go apeshit on Senku in the next match. Everybody's like, no, we cannot let this happen. Chrome throws that watermelon is durable. Let me tell you, that watermelon helmet is durable. Throws the watermelon helmet. Senku uses it, as a pulley, or, well, more like a seesaw than a pulley. He uses it as a seesaw and goes bang, and Ginro takes a shot to the gonads that would fell even the greatest of human males. That looked like so damn painful. It looked bad. In that sense, they go to the final match. It's supposed to be Chrome versus Senku, and unfortunately, Chrome has taken too much battle damage. He's so relieved that Ruri is not going to have to marry Magma and their Kingdom of Science won. He passes out, and he's done. So Senku, by default, wins. So now it's Senku who marries Ruri, and Senku is now the village chief. And they're like, wait, what? Sort of idea. So Senku uses this as, everyone's, just crazy about it. They're like, what do we do now? Because the former village chief does not want, the father of Kohaku and Ruri does not want Senku to be village chief, of course. He's an outsider. Where do you hail from? Where are you from? I will never let an outsider rule my village, the former chief of the village, that kind of stuff, right? So that's all, it's all done really well, throughout the episode. But suffice to say, Senku plays it off, and then he asks for alcohol, and he's got the, some have turned to vinegar, and he's like, no, save that too. I want, bring me all the alcohol you can. And he's like, okay, look at all the alcohol, look at all the vinegar, and he's thinking, I got my alcohol. And then Senku basically says, yeah, by the way, I want a divorce. And everyone's like, what? What? And they're already hightailing it. You got Kasaki, Kohaku, and Senku just hightailing it. the hell out of there. They're making carbonated water in the waterfall, and Senku recognizes before in this that Ruri does not have as much time left. She's hurting, like she's coughing blood at this point. So he's like, God damn it, we got to make this thing. So they have all the ingredients. So that he's like, we're making this shit overnight. So he's pouring like hydrochloric acid into this thing and carbonated water into that. Make baking soda for this. Burn this. Grab coals for that. Use the coal tar to stir up in with the menazine and all that. Like, even I got pretty lost with some of it, and I love that Gen shows up. Gen's now he's here for the long haul, and Gen basically says after he shows up, after Kasaki made a spinning wheel, basically a pinwheel sort of idea to constantly filter the waterfall, and basically he developed a device to create carbonated water at the end of it. I don't fully understand the science of it. I didn't pay that much attention to the full science of how that works, but they made carbonated water. And so then Gen's looking like, yeah, so he runs over to Senku's hut. Senku at the next day, because he's like, we're making this cure-all drug tonight. And they do end up making it, but suffice to say that Gen shows up all happy, like fizzy water, and he's remembering that Senku promised him he could make a bottle of cola. He's like, okay, do I finally have my fizzy water? He's like, of course, Senku's not that nice. He's like, I got my hopes up for nothing. And then they do finally create a powder. They can't put it in a capsule or anything, but they have the powder. They have the sulfur drug. And they're like, okay, we're going to go give this to Ruri. And Gen, of course, cannot go. Because he's an outsider of the village, all that stuff, which begs the question, like, technically Senku right now is still technically the village chief, Is there finalized for divorce? Anybody sign any stones lately? But Gen can't say, so he says, you'll just have to chill back in the lab. And so when they walk towards Ruri to give her the drug, we see Gen go back into the lab, and everyone's like kind of feeling a little sorry for him. Like Sukiya, she's feeling sorry for Gen that he helps so much and doesn't really get anything. And then we see on the bottle, on the table, there's a bottle of cola there for Gen, and Gen's just crying while drinking it, just being like, he did it, he actually did it, and he didn't make me wait long. We get Mecha Senku. I like this Mecha Senku stuff, I really do. I love Mecha Senku. He shows up and explains that, lime, zest, and cilantro, it's very easy. You use basically honey, lime, carbonated water, lime, zest, and cilantro. You basically made Coca-Cola. Like, it's not that difficult, it's not that complex. And I really enjoyed this because it was a nice touch. And that scene right there where Gen is so happy, like you have the soundtrack and everything's nice, that sets up the rest of the episode to follow suit, because then we get Ruri finally getting the cure-all drug, and that's a really nice moment. Like, she accepts it, and all the the music playing, everybody's like monologuing, everybody's thought process going into this. And Senku's still a little worried here, because he's like, there's still no way. I don't have the diagnostic equipment to know what type of infection she has. She has something. And then he sees the dead rat, and he's like, we're going to perform an autopsy. So he takes the rat, he cuts it open that evening, looks into it, realizes the lungs are inflamed, so it's and red and inflamed, so that is clearly a bacterial infection. I don't know how accurate that is. I guess if your lungs are inflamed and stuff. We do know that Senku did use the glass to kind of use it sort of similar to, a stethoscope, and he's like, it sounds like her lungs are filled with fluid. So that definitely, like, all this stuff, he's accumulating basic knowledge of knowing medical conditions to create a probability hypothesis, a probability diagnosis, right? I think, like, this is like on the level of something that like Hugh Laurie in House could do, in House MD. He could probably pull off a stunt like this. Maybe some of the guys from MASH, they could pull off a stunt like this without the equipment sort of idea, but figure out a way to do it. So it's entirely possible that they could figure out using these very barbaric, very basic methods to deduce at least the proper direction to take. But even Senku goes, if it's tuberculosis, which is a great chance, it could be any type of bacterial infection. There's no way to know. It could be tuberculosis, and if it is, we're screwed. I can't cure tuberculosis. I'm pretty sure that we cured tuberculosis yet. Like, I don't even know if like 2019 if we can do that. I'm pretty sure TB. Yeah, I think we can, but it's still running rampant in third world countries, if I'm not mistaken. Tuberculosis is curable, but it's a pharmaceutical, it's a money grab thing, so there's a lot of people still suffering from it. I believe that's the case. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure TB is a curable illness. We did figure that one out, but nonetheless, there's no way Senku can create the drug for TB. So all of a sudden Sukiya shows up and she's like, come quick, Ruri is, and then they show up and Ruri is coughing up blood. She's on her side. It's the worst fit she's ever had. Senku and the whole gang show up and they're just like, what's going on, sort of idea, and she's on the ground, she's in pain. It's a very tense moment. It's just like, oh no, and Senku's there looking worried. He falls to his knees, he's worried, and he's like, damn it, sort of idea. And then we get the village chief grabbing Senku around the neck, and his hand fits entirely. Like, mine only fits half my neck. This guy's hand wraps around the entirety of Senku's neck, and he's like, I am going to kill you, and Senku's like, yeah, you killed because you gave that white powder sorcery to my daughter. She's gonna die. And he's like, yeah, you could be right. Though I really doubt that drug would have heightened, like if she had tuberculosis, for example. I'm not a doctor, but would that actually speed up the process? Like, would it hurt to get that drug? I know some drugs, like you give people the wrong drugs, they can die because of their condition. But I'm unaware if that giving one type of antibiotic would actually be detrimental to an infection. I'm not 100% that would be accurate, but nonetheless, we realize the reason that she's suffering so much is because Senku brings up, he just goes, you might be right. However, she's coughing up blood, her lungs are filled, this is inflamed, and she got a lot better before she got worse. So that means, because they explain the science of it, and it's a really cool way, and I feel like I'm not doing the moment justice, because you think that we lost. Ruri's gonna die. This plan did not work out. She's still gonna die. And then Senku basically explains the whole thing, that this medicine attacking this medicine means, or this medicine attacking this infection means, and they have this kaiju looking battle thing. He's like, this means it's working because we're hitting home, we're doing damage. It's fighting back because we're going to completely destroy it. And he explains like how the cells attack one another's cells, and how you get better before you get worse. And then he's just like, he just clasps his fist on the ground and goes, this means we won. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, we need to give her more of this drug. And the village chief is like, no. And Kohaku blocks his fist from taking out Senku and just says, look, Dad, I trust in Senku and in science. And even Kasaki, Ginro, Kinro, everybody there, they're just like, yeah, we were all like, yeah, we believe in Senku. Senku did more than we can. And then the rest of the episode is just basically this beautiful, it's a very beautiful, like, combination montage of all the work they put in to make this drug, with a beautiful score, a beautiful soundtrack in the background, just showcasing, monologuing the entire, like, the journey, the experience. And then Ruri finally standing in a field, being able to go outside the village. She runs around and stuff, and I was like, whoa, everybody's crying, even Jasper and the other retainer lady, the village chief. You see Kohaku in tears and stuff. Everything is just, beside themselves. And the end of the episode has the village chief acknowledging Senku, going in the village town square, basically holds up his arm and is like, he is the new leader of Ishigami Village. And Senku's like, Ishigami? Wait, what? And Ruri shows up and goes, I've known the whole time. Basically, your full name is Ishigami Senku. And it's like, and he's just shocked, because remember, this was hinted at, because Ruri asked Senku, what is your last name? And Senku was like, there are no last names. It's like, I know, but how does this woman know of last names? And what's the relevance of that, and sort of idea? So now we get the explanation right here. Well, we don't know what it's about. What we do know is that it's his name. This village is named after his surname. So what's the deal with that, right? And Rory seems to know about it. So now this builds up so much hype. This was such a beautiful episode with, once again, I think the score sold it for me because I started to get a little teary-eyed. Got a little bit of the mist going on in the air sort of idea. It was a beautiful episode, great animation, just loved it to death. And it just builds up hype for the mystery of, like, they've success. Now they have this village that they, basically the citizens can help them. They have the manpower to do greater and bigger and grander, higher things sort of idea with the kingdom of science. They're not limited to 4 or 5 people anymore. They now have a village worth of people with different skill traits that can probably help with grander designs. But now we've added this mystery into the mix. We've added this Ishigami village. Why is it called that? And how does Rory know about it? And how does Rory know Senku's last name is the same? So we're going to find out all this, I'm sure, in the next episode. I can't wait to watch it. And then I think we're fully caught up. It might be one more episode. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Griever with your Dr. Stone episode review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe every time. If you want to stay notified, hit that bell notification so you know every single time I drop a video. Drink responsibly as always. We'll see you next time.